Welcome to the Entrepreneurial Show, where we strive to provide insights and stories for entrepreneurs by entrepreneurs, where innovation meets inspiration. Led by veteran entrepreneur and tech founder, here's your host, Jill Buck.
All right, we are live. Today's episode is brought to you by Armour Cybersecurity. Armour Cybersecurity protects organizations and their data from multifaceted and ever-changing cyber threats. They provide end-to-end cybersecurity services backed by top global talent and a comprehensive ecosystem of leading technologies. Armour Security is your one-stop shop for all things cyber, helping clients reduce business risk associated with business threats in a timely and cost-effective manner, offering advisory, professional, managed, and incident response services. To learn more about Armour Cybersecurity or to join our thriving Procure Hub community of entrepreneurs, check out www.procurehub.ca for more information and check out our show notes for more links. Today, my guest is David Chernitzky, the CEO and co-founder of Armour Cybersecurity. He is a visionary serial entrepreneur driving business growth and scaling successful ventures. His expertise lies in business and technology, enabling digital transformation, fostering a culture of innovation and collaboration. Strategic partnerships and philanthropic engagement are essential aspects of his leadership style, reflecting his commitment to making a positive impact on society. Welcome to the show, David.
Hey, Jill, thanks for having me here. I'm excited and looking forward to our conversation.
Yes, we're very excited to have you as well. I'm excited because cybersecurity is such an important topic for small and medium-sized businesses, and I don't think people truly understand what it means. So I wanted, first of all, can we talk a little bit about your background and experience? What prompted you to become an entrepreneur? And in fact, you're a serial entrepreneur. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Sure, if we'll have full 2 hours to talk about that, I'll give you the full story, but I'll try to summarize and to compact it to a shorter answer. I actually was born in a former Soviet Union, and as you know, it was a almost communist setup where people had very simple lives, and at the time of perestroika, it's 1985. I'm just disclosing how old I am. I remember things started to get changed, and I seen a lot of people going into business sides, start to do business with West, and it was fascinating for me as a kid. All this business world and how to do business, how to create value, and fast forward ahead. Many years after that, when I came to Canada, and I eventually worked for big corporations, but I always wanted to do something of my own. And at age of 42, maybe it was midlife crisis, I'm not sure, but
you and me both, David.
Me and my business partner, we actually went on a very tough hike in Newfoundland, and we climbed on a mountain that only then I realized that my business partner did not do the proper research. It's one of the toughest trails that you can find in this neck of the woods. And we started 4 people. We had to call chopper for 2 of our friends to evacuate in the middle of the trail. It was 80-kilometer slope, no marked trails, nothing. And eventually, after we finished, it was one of the moments I said, okay, if we did that, we can do anything. And since then, we left our cushy jobs in the enterprise. We actually started 3 businesses since 2018 because I felt this hunger of doing more and conquering the world. There is so much opportunity out there. And I think now 6 years after I became entrepreneur and the business owner, I still have this hunger, but now I'm much more dialed on how to execute it. We are smarter. We learned. So in a nutshell, this is how I became an entrepreneur.
So basically, you had a midlife crisis atop a mountain, and you decided you needed to do something that would seize the opportunity, control your destiny, and here you are.
Exactly. And looking backwards, it's totally irrational decision, but I think every person has his or her own point that they're ready to jump into the water. And I like to use this Nike slogan: you need just do it. There's no right time. It is never right time, right? And as a matter of fact, I'm extremely happy for my brother. He's 12 years younger, and I was brainwashing him to become a entrepreneur. And he recently just purchased a business, as maybe you heard, like baby boomers retiring, and there's a lot of businesses are available for sale. And he actually bought a very nice business. And I think it's not for everyone, but for those people who have this tickle to do something. They want to not just wake up and every day to go to the office for all their life, to the same office. Sometimes it's not exist anymore, but proverbial office every day and just sit and complain. For those who are some people like it, no problem. But those who complain, I say, hey, life is beautiful. You just go and do something. And I think obviously this hike in Newfoundland, there was a lot of black flies, actually. They had swarms of black flies, and we survived that. And we said, after that, we can do it. But I think it just was the last mile in multiple people that I went through my career. Like I met a lot of people that did fantastically, and some people failed. But you learn from these people, and you listen to the universe, and it leads you to the point that you're saying, okay, now I'm ready to jump to the water, and just do it at this point in time. Don't look back.
It's interesting because we share a bit of a background in terms of, our desire to leap off the corporate ladder. Myself, similar to you, I was in a corporate role. I had a really good job, good paying job, and I had that itch as well. I felt like there was something different, something I had to do. I didn't quite know what I wanted to do, but I actually leapt off the corporate ladder when I was 45. I think I couldn't have been the entrepreneur that I am today without that experience. It really led me to what I think is my destiny. And, it's an incredibly rewarding career being an entrepreneur, but man, it's scary. There's a lot that I think people, they glorify what it means to be an entrepreneur, but the realities are incredibly different. So thank you for sharing sort of your origin story. Before we get into more questions, I just want to remind our listeners that you can ask a question of David, whether it's about his background of being an entrepreneur, or if you have any questions about cybersecurity, because we do have a cybersecurity expert here today, just pop them into the comment section, and we're going to get to those later in the show. So speaking of some scary challenges, can you tell me what has been for you one of the biggest obstacles? Like, what has been that thing that has really given you the biggest challenge?
Again, we need 2 hours only for that section, but I'll try to summarize. The biggest challenge, I think, it is and by the way, just to give a bit of background that how we started Armour Cybersecurity, we are totally privately owned. We are not a typical cybersecurity company that usually people think, okay, let's go and look for investment from someone so we can start. So obviously before we started, our challenge was, okay, how do we fund the year one? And I'm telling today to all entrepreneurs that think about jumping into the cold water and starting their own business, ensure that you can survive year one, because you have a lot of hopes. You sure you'll be successful. This is the right set of mind, but reality is reality. And the year one, usually it's a trial period. You're trying, sometimes I'm joking, like I'm telling everyone that my mom wanted me to be a doctor. I did not become a doctor, but at least I did enough human trials in year one to try to see what works and what is not working. And today, 6 years after the beginning of first business, I'm actually in a category that it's very interesting to see that I'm in 2% of companies that survive five first years. A lot of them
absolutely
don't. And the only thing that made us to get there as a team here, it's be constantly adjusting and adapting. Like you have your ideas, you have your plans, reality happens, and you need to adjust to reality. If you're ignoring reality, it will kill you. Simple as. So again, the challenge of I think what I'm trying to say, that you constantly need to adjust. Also, if your gut feel says that, oh my God, I wanted to do something else, but reality happened, you need to adjust. And I think it's the biggest trait of any successful entrepreneur, that people need to adapt and listen to the market, listen to their clients. What are the biggest gaps? What need to be solved? And that magic is happening.
Good, very good. So the resilience, the adaptability, listening to your customers in the market. There's a question coming in from Susan. She says, great to see you. Why did you choose cybersecurity as your calling? What was it about cybersecurity?
Yeah, so it's actually a great question. Thanks, Susan. After Iron Curtain fell in the former Soviet Union, my family actually immigrated to Israel, and they spent about 15 years in Israel, 12 out of which 12 I spent in the Israeli military. And the majority of it I've been serving in a intelligence corps elite unit dealing with cyber. So for me, picking a cybersecurity as a business was a natural choice. And in around 2013, I started to look at the market and to look what could I do as an entrepreneur. And I seen huge gap on cybersecurity. Even bigger organizations been breached and struggling. Once we started to look deeper, and me and my business partner, we seen huge gap that called in cybersecurity in small and medium businesses. And small and medium businesses are representing today in Canada around 99.8%. This is Statistics Canada. It's not my numbers. And
yes.
Once we started to look at this segment, we seen that usually these guys left alone and not getting access to cybersecurity resources. So it is really, I think cybersecurity was the end result of trying to get into multiple businesses. For example, my own first business, I had small retail shop for furniture because it was cool. It worked. We sold it online. Pandemic happened. This business died. But it was a lot of experiments until you find the right fit and say, hey, here I can bring value. And kind of it was no-brainer. And I know it sounds almost way too easy, but I believe that universe aligns people with what they're good at. And you know, this Jim Collins book that I'm a big believer in, you need to be good at something, you need to be passionate about, and you need people to need, it should be a real problem that need to be solved. And I think in my case, three things align together.
So it's really interesting that you were, I would say, a bit ahead of the curve. So large corporate organizations certainly were dealing with cybersecurity, but small and medium-sized businesses, not so much. They really aren't thinking, even today, about cybersecurity and the importance. So Susan's asking as well, so when should a business start thinking about cybersecurity? Like how small is too small? Tell us a little bit about that. And our listeners would love to know, like, should they be thinking about that now? And has the threat really increased exponentially? It seems like it has.
So it's a great question, and it's very heavy question. I'll try to unpack it in a couple of layers, and everything should connect together. So cybersecurity today is a ever evolving rapidly domain, and it's unfortunately it's always behind cyber criminals. Last year, damages due to cybercrime ended up at $7.5 trillion globally. I'll repeat, 7.5 trillions. 2022 ended up in December with $4 trillion in damages. So it's almost doubled over 1 year. This year we'll be around 9.5 to 10 trillion, and this is again not my numbers. I'm just quoting is
staggering.
Very reputable research houses. Now, this is very lucrative business for criminals, and we see shift from state level actors that funding their wars through the cybercrime, organized crime moved to cybercrime because it's way easier than smuggling drugs, guns, or doing human trafficking. And eventually, all of that fueling cybercrime, and it's virtually not enforceable today. A lot of good people trying to fight it across different agencies across the globe, but it's not enough, and it's not even scratching the surface. So this is the biggest motivator for cybercrime to be one step ahead of cybersecurity. Now, if you look at cybersecurity and you are saying, and I have those conversations all the time, oh, I'm too small, I'm not a target. No, there is no such a thing. For someone sitting with a keyboard somewhere around the globe and targeting organization, if they can make $1,000 and it's easy, they will do it. And everyone is a target. Director Mueller of FBI, I think it was around 2015 or 16, coined this term. There's two types of organizations in this world: those who got breached and those who will be breached.
Yes.
And people that ignoring it, basically, they are not ready for next cyber attack. And many times, especially in small and medium business segment, it costs them a business. In US, they have this statistic that 60% of businesses hit by significant cyber attack going out of business in 6 months after this attack. And if you layer it up with the fact that there is 4,000 technologies built predominantly for large enterprises, those guys have deep pockets. They can hire people. By the way, there is 3.5 million people missing in cybersecurity industry today, and most of them big guys grabbing. We see de facto today that we're going to small and medium enterprises, organizations up to 500, 600 people. Usually they have just IT people working for them. They don't have experts that know how to set up proper cybersecurity protection for this organization. And all these factors, too much technology, not enough experts, everything interconnected because of digital revolution, everything on the cloud, and high motivation by criminals, creating perfect storm that small and medium businesses getting killed, and you don't hear about them because only 1 out of 7 breaches are actually reported. And usually only bigger guys report. The reality is, unfortunately, it's much more, for a lack of better word, uglier out there, and people don't realize that. So, maybe Jill, just to finish one sentence, I always saying cyber pain, whoever experiences it, he understands it. He or she understands it.
Mm-hmm.
But many times it's like I'm asking people, do you know how to ride a bicycle? Person says, yeah, of course. I say, you remember when you've been a little, you fell once or twice, you scraped your knee, it hurt like hell. You understand now physical pain, so next time you're very careful. Cyber pain is just new type of pain that people don't get. And until they're going through that, and sometimes it's way too late if they're not prepared properly, but this is the reality.
Mm-hmm. I think that's so true, right? So a lot of times you actually have to feel the pain of something, whether it's cybersecurity or, in my line of business, it's procurement and contracting, and you need to feel the pain in order to really appreciate what needs to be done, the cure, so to speak. So for entrepreneurs, though, yourself that being an entrepreneur is incredibly challenging, and we just don't have a lot of time, and we sure as heck don't have a lot of money. So how big should you be before you start really taking cybersecurity seriously? Don't wait for an attack. Like, is it 2 people? Is it 3 people? Is it 1 million? Is it 5 million? When should entrepreneurs really take seriously budgeting for cybersecurity? What size organization?
It's very simple. You need to build your business de facto today, regardless what is your vertical. Be you extremely high-tech or focused organization or manufacturing, low-tech manufacturing organization, everything interconnected today. Most probably your email is in the cloud. Most probably you have ERP, you have website. This is your face. And the question is that there is a gap, educational gap, that we stand in our business today. Our real goal is to educate, to explain how much it will cost you if everything is gone. Can you recover and continue operating? What is your reputation is damaged to the level that you will lose 6 months from now, you will lose 60% of your revenue. Well, of course, everything costs money, but it's not about the cost. It's about risk management, how much you can lose versus how much you need to spend a little to protect yourself right now. So you will become less attractive target. And by the way, attacks will happen on any size of the business. It's guaranteed. We cannot prevent it. What we can do, we can manage the risk, how well you're ready for next cyber attack. So they will come and they try to knock on your door and say, well, this organization protected, let's go to the neighbors. And the answer is you need to think about it from day one, and there are ways how to measure it and right size it for a specific business size. This is what we specialize today. We have very large clients, but majority of our clients, small and medium enterprises, spread around the globe today. The problem is very common, anywhere from Mongolia and Ulaanbaatar in Mongolia, all the way to Hawaii, and anywhere from northern Canada to Argentina. Same problems everywhere. And we right size it for the risk appetite that organization has. And this is the biggest, by the way, it's the biggest difference. A lot of people confusing, oh, I have my IT guys. Yeah, your IT guys dealing with IT security. What we do, we're managing business risk associated with cyber threats. And of course, it touches technology at the end of the day, but it's much bigger and much broader picture that you need to think about.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is you've got to build it into your business model from the beginning. You can't afford not to, and that if you really are looking at growing a business, this has to be a priority. It can't be wait until you experience your first attack and then figure out how to budget, because it could be catastrophic. It could be the end of your business.
Correct. And if you look to that US, actually, they currently working on promoting initiative that every company that has board should have board expert, a cybersecurity expert sitting on a board that advising them on how to protect the business. This is typically for larger organizations, but we have, like, maybe I'll give you the real life example. We have a startup out of Montreal. We started to work with them. They've been 3 people, and they're in a very specific, very heavy high-tech environment. They're building their platform on a cloud, servicing certain industry. They grew today to 50 people organization, and multiple times we getting a feedback that, guys, if you would not lead us through that way, that you protected our platform from day one, you put proper processes and controls in place, we would give up and we'll go away. It's not in 2024, in a digital world where everything interconnected, it's not an option. You have to do it. Otherwise, other organization that did it will survive, and you might not.
So it's interesting that you talk about large organizations and the imperative. I know that large organizations around regulatory in particular do have certain obligations around risk, especially around the protection of personal identifiable information, confidential information. How does that apply to small or medium-sized businesses? What sort of obligations do they have that maybe entrepreneurs just don't know about?
Yeah. So again, it's a great question, and every jurisdiction behaves slightly different. And but if you're familiar with GDPR from Europe, obviously, and I think it became to be de facto golden standard or master plan that a lot of jurisdictions across Americas, and I'll talk about the North and South America, replicated this model and basically implemented different forms this regulation, where basically regardless how big are you, and if you have your clients' data, personal identifiable data, if you have your employees' personal identifiable data, you have to protect it. Some industries are more regulated, some industries less regulated. But at the end of the day, you have to have this accountability to protect this data. Having said that, we see different jurisdictions that have more teeth to regulations, some of them less. And obviously big guys complying with that, because there are big targets that it is easy to go after them if they're not compliant. If you look at small and medium enterprises, some of them ignoring it because there is not enough enforcement or teeth from regulation side. And I hope one day that regulator will actually put some and enforce. By the way, in Canada, we have regulation. Did you ever heard about someone penalized because they are not following regulations as a small and medium business? I didn't hear about it. We need to have firmer hand on enforcement. It will be better for everyone.
I think it's good advice. And again, I think that there's such a lack of understanding and knowledge in the SMB space around cybersecurity and the obligations as a business to ensure that you have the right protections in place. So it's really helpful for you to share that knowledge. What can you share with us in terms of your domain expertise? Obviously, with many, many years in cybersecurity, what are some of the things that businesses can do? I understand they could hire an expert like you, but what are some of the things that entrepreneurs, small businesses, medium-sized businesses can do practically to protect themselves? What are some of those tips you could share?
Jill, thank you for asking these very heavy questions. And again, I can spend very long time just talking about every topic. But let's try to dissect it and just to make it very practical. And what we see today that some people oversimplify, and it's getting them compromised. And some people like completely ignoring. If you ask me, those if you ignore problem, you almost kind of deserve it, right? So we always like to take people that understand that this domain need to be dealt with, and then you just need to deal with what are the most critical paths for compromising your business. And many times we playing this game, and I'm coming to the business owners, hey, you know your business the best. If I'm criminal, let's play a game. You are criminal right now, and I criminal, we are a team. How we will compromise your business? And usually people are naming very quickly 3-4 key areas that will hurt them the most. So it's okay. Let's zoom out and let's just start building the logical. What is your top priorities? Let's put best practices around it. And you need to have unfortunately, there is no way around you need to have expertise to know how to deal with different type of problems. It's think about simply like if you have a car and you can go into any car wash, it will be a clean car. But if you have a mechanical problem that you need expertise to fix it, you need to work with experts. There's no way around it. And I always talk to IT folks, and I spent many years in the IT industry, and I always saying we are like two doctors. There's a general physician, and you have specialists. Let's be cardiologists, right? If you have problems with your heart, your GP can talk about those problems in general. Would you let your GP to do open heart surgery on you? To date, I didn't find even one person that would agree. Mm-hmm. And again, it's you need to, even though you're a small organization, you need to have generalists and specialists working together. It's not same set of skills. Maybe it's overlapping a little, but it's complementary. And this is true for any size of organization. And there are luckily, there are a lot of companies today that provide access to expertise even to small and medium guys. We are just one of them. We're growing and we are getting bigger and bigger. But again, we understand the problem in this specific segment.
So your advice is don't do it yourself. You need to hire an expert. People need to hire the expertise in order to do it right. That actually takes us to a good question from Brock. So Brock says, do you work with MSPs, managed service providers, who may not have the right expertise in cybersecurity and the tools that they need? Do you work hand in hand with them? So that doctor or specialist and specialist, do you work with MSPs?
This is actually a great question. As a matter of fact, yes. And one of the key growth vectors for us, we have IT managed services providers from around the globe that they realize that they don't have breadth and depth of expertise that we as a pure cybersecurity player company do. And it's one of the best sales channels for me as a business today. It's my IT MSP partners that we empower them to get access to the best expertise, best technology, wrapped up as a service, and they can, together, we basically providing much more value to their clients. Great question.
Excellent. So on Procure Hub, we actually have a number of IT, pure play IT support organizations, as well as yourself as a cybersecurity expertise. So for those who are on Procure Hub, know that Armour Cybersecurity is available to partner. So that's good news. And I love that. I love seeing the community collaborate, learn, and support one another. There's another question that's, I think, really great. So how is AI or machine learning impacting current cybersecurity defenses and threats? AI is all the rage. Everybody's talking about AI. Talk about that as it relates to cybersecurity.
I'm getting called today to multiple public speaking opportunities around the globe. And the first time I've been asked to speak on the stage in front of 800 people, I think it was last August. And they basically asked how AI impacting the cybersecurity world. And as a company, we created this presentation that talks about how AI fueling cybercrime and propelling forward cybersecurity. Since then, I did 4 more engagements, and every 2 months or so that I'm doing new engagement, I'm updating the deck, and it is incredible to see the progress. AI, at the end of the day, generative AI, and we'll talk about generative AI today. It's a purely productivity tool. Unfortunately, it's a productivity tool and tool that allows to invent novel attacks also for hackers. And they absolutely love that technology they're adopting, and we can see new types of attacks. We can see malware that can, before that you need to have highly qualified person with many times with years of experience that could create malware that could get to any environment. You have something called today malware GPT, that you basically give parameters of the target environment, and we've seen the scripts generated that basically allow to breach you.
Yeah.
So, it allows deep fakes. Deep fakes is amazing, and this year started with a bank. This bank in Hong Kong lost $25 million because the boss of the guy got on a call with him, was sitting there, and it was the CFO of the bank. Employee just wired $25 million, never been recovered. And I can go with examples of types of attacks that we never seen before. We as humans have harder and harder time to identify what is real or not real. So cybersecurity responding and leveraging AI as well, trying to match the stance and to provide decent protection. Having said that, like I mentioned before, we always playing a catch-up game because there is a big money to be made on cybercrime. People are very creative. People are using new technologies. We as an industry, unfortunately, playing a catch-up game, and it only will get worse in upcoming years. We need to get ready.
Yeah, it's really scary. I mean, AI has the power to do good in the world, and it really is about who is wielding that tool, the ability to, improve productivity, the ability to alleviate some of the challenges, even from an entrepreneur perspective, leveraging AI in your business and helping to improve your ability to respond and create content and create strategy even is incredible. But it is very scary how AI can be used as a weapon in this manner, and it's scary as an entrepreneur. How could an entrepreneur? I know I asked you this before, and hiring an expert is obviously the best route. But what can an entrepreneur do if they have a limited budget to work with? What are some of the things that they can do, just simple things to protect themselves, especially from like you said, deep fakes? Can you give us any insights in that?
Yeah, absolutely. So see, there's a lot of resources available online as well. There's always a route that you can spend time and learn. The question is, how do you balance what you're good at and you need to spend time there versus basic needs? It's like Maslow ladder of needs, like cyber/physical. Like I'm always adding to that classical model, like physical safety, but I'm adding cyber safety because it can become physical, right? You can do as a small business. Let's say you just started, you just have your email, you just have some online systems that you use, like CRM or like whatever SaaS platforms. Use password managers, use MFA everywhere, back up your data, and there's very specific ways. Again, I will not get to details how to back up your data, but a lot of people think, oh, I have my data on my computer and then I just copy it to OneDrive or my Google Drive. It's not a backup. There are dedicated backup solutions that you need to have agent with MFA, and you need to have some offline copies.
So
protect your and Jill, just two simple things: protect your computer, protect
MFA. What is MFA? For those who don't know I know what MFA is, but explain what MFA means.
Sure. So MFA, think about it. It's as a secondary authentication method, or it's MFA stands for multi-factor authentication, or many times it's called secondary authentication. So you have your password.
Thank you.
Which have to be, by the way, longer than 12 characters, should have uppercase, lowercase, special characters, numbers. Anything lower than that, statistics showing that with a password cracker, it can be cracked in matter of hours many times. So use strong password, use unique password. Every service you use very different password that not similar in any way or shape to previous password. plus have second factor authentication. Many times it's Google Authenticator, for example. It's a free app that basically have every 30 seconds 6-digit rotating, and you just need in this point in time to insert for this specific service this specific number that you see. That makes it much harder for attacker to manipulate. Is it 100% safe? Unfortunately not, but in most of the cases, yes. And again, it's if attacker has motivation, they will go through MFA, they will find the way. But again, for most of the people today, strong passwords, unique passwords, MFA on all services, proper EDR. It's not antivirus. There are way better technologies today than traditional antiviruses. On your machine, protect your email, back up your data. You will survive. It might hurt, but you will survive. And again, you can start building up from here. I know it's very technical, but this is the world we live in. And like you said at the beginning, unfortunately, a lot of people don't understand it, but you have to be aware of that. You don't need to understand, but you need to understand that you need to manage those risks today.
Yes. And I've been around the IT world for quite a long time. So through osmosis, I've learned all these acronyms, and I've helped many organizations buy technology for the last 35 years. So I can imagine how daunting it is, though, for an entrepreneur who hasn't been, right? So, getting that information out to them is important for me. Getting that information at a level of detail and understanding is really important. And I appreciate you helping. So, you talked about the basics. Those are the basics that people need to have. Multi-factor identification can be a pain for a lot of people. I know they try to bypass MFA or they reuse their passwords on a regular basis. Don't use your maiden name, your dog's name, your cat's name. It has to be unique. So I appreciate you sharing all those. I do know that your organization as well provides free consultations. So I know that that's one of the things we're looking at providing on ProcureHub is to make it more accessible to people who are looking at cybersecurity, looking at taking it serious, free consultations to discuss cybersecurity needs. And you also provide education, which I think is really important because, there's this do it with you versus do it for you. So helping people, don't do it yourself, like you said early on, is not a good idea, but doing it with them, helping them, giving them consultation and education, I think is a really great option for those who are maybe struggling with a budget and not sure how much they should allocate. Asking the questions, talking to an expert is a really great first step, and the consultation is free. So that's awesome. Is there anything else you'd like to share with us? I'd like to talk a little bit more about, again, being an entrepreneur, right? Because this is the Entrepreneuring Show. Let's sort of spin it a little bit. What's the most rewarding thing about being an entrepreneur that you really love?
That I actually was preparing for that question. I have 100% ready answer.
All right.
A lot of people thinking that being an entrepreneur, it is absolute freedom. It's not true. It's the only freedom we have as entrepreneurs is what we can do and with whom we are doing that. Be it your business partners, be it people that you're hiring, people you work with. And I think this freedom it's the ultimate freedom. I'm still working a business and we're building it up that eventually team is growing right now, that I bring in very strong people that I really enjoy to work with. And with the time I want to zoom out and deal more with business development and let business grow farther. But again, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what I will do as an entrepreneur. It is who are the people that you work with. People inside of your company, your partners, your providers, your clients. That's it.
Mm-hmm. I find that really rewarding myself. I think that's one of the things that I really enjoy most about being an entrepreneur is helping amazing clients. We actually share a mutual client, which we won't name, and they're my favorite client of all time. They are incredibly smart. They make decisions. They're very practical. And the ability to work with clients who appreciate what we can do as experts, yourself as a cybersecurity expert, and help them and see that appreciation, it just makes the job all that much better. And I find that one of the best aspects as well. And it seems like you do as well. So
Jill, I would add to that. You asked me about entrepreneur. As a cybersecurity professional, seeing client attacked and we deflecting this attack, and then their peers actually going down and they didn't do anything. Again, it's a sad situation for the company that got attacked and not survived. But knowing that we did right things for our clients, it's obviously, as a cybersecurity professional, it's very rewarding. But as a human being entrepreneur, the freedom of working with good people and doing good I think it's the ultimate reward that I see.
The freedom to choose who you want to work with, when you want to work with them, how you want to work with them. The team, for me, I have an incredible team as well. And that, for me, again, is one of the most, like, without the team, there is no client. So I appreciate that as well. So it's been an amazing conversation. We're actually coming up on almost an hour. Is there anything else that you'd like to impart, either as being an entrepreneur or as a cybersecurity expert? Anything else you'd like to add?
I want to go back to where we started. I think the situation is bad, but not everything is lost. And just having proactive approach to cybersecurity, pragmatic, not ignoring the reality. I think we can survive even the rise of the AI these days. And this is regarding cybersecurity, but for those who might be watching and contemplating from their enterprise desks, maybe I should do something. I'll get back to basics. Just do it. There is no right time. If you found something that you love, you think you can be good at it, and people really have this problem that you can solve, just jump into the water. And I'm happy to chat, and I having a lot of conversation like this with a lot of people that I see they're still didn't get to their Newfoundland hike, and didn't get this to the tipping point. But again, is sitting for a long time. I think I had this thought before I started. I could still sit for 6, 10, 15 years and complaining that I want to do something and not doing it. I think looking backwards, it's never irrational, but just do it because it's incredible freedom feeling.
Fantastic advice.
What are the biggest rewards? We already talked about.
Fantastic advice. It's been a real pleasure, David. Thank you so much for joining me here today and sharing your journey to become an entrepreneur, and that sort of pivotal moment out on the rough hills of Newfoundland. Was it 𝗪𝗏 by any chance that you guys were climbing?
20 kilometers north of 𝗪𝗏.
Oh, okay.
It's not on a map.
My family's from Newfoundland. I'm actually half Newfie and proud of it. So thank you so much for your time today. It's been really great to get to know you a little bit better. And I truly appreciate you sharing with our listeners all of your incredible expertise and insights about cybersecurity. So with that, if you're interested, thank you.
Thank you.
If you're interested in more cybersecurity and want to know more about their services, you can visit 𝗪𝗑𝗪.ca. That's www.𝗪𝗑𝗪hub.ca. Or you want to become a member of the 𝗪𝗑𝗪hub community, we'd love to have you join us. If you want more information about the Entrepreneuring Show, or have an idea for the show, or want to be a guest on the show, visit us at www.theentrepreneuringshow.com. Or you can send us an email to info@𝗪𝗑𝗪pro.ca. Until next time, entrepreneurs, just keep swimming. Thank you.